Have you ever felt a deep, warm connection to a piece of music, only to find out later that the story behind it was not what you thought? Imagine sitting in a quiet room and hearing an old, scratchy recording of a blues singer from the 1930s. The voice is tired but full of soul, and the guitar sounds like it has seen 1,000 dusty roads. You feel the history in every note. You feel the pain of a human life. Then, a moment later, you are told that this person never existed. The voice, the guitar, and even the tiny imperfections in the recording were all made by a computer program in just a few seconds. This realization can be quite jarring. It makes us question the very nature of what we find beautiful. We have always believed that music is a bridge between two human hearts, but what happens when there is only a machine on the other end? We are entering a time where the line between human effort and digital calculation is becoming very thin. It is a strange new world that forces us to ask what we really value when we listen to a song. Is it the sound itself, or is it the knowledge that a person worked hard to create it? This brings us to a very big question about authenticity. We often think of real music as something that comes from human skill, intelligence, and soul. When new technologies arrive, they always cause a bit of a panic. Long ago, people thought the phonograph was a threat because it replaced live musicians with a mechanical system. Later, people debated whether synthesizers or electronic samples were truly music. Today, we are having that same debate about artificial intelligence. On the surface, it seems like a simple conflict between humans and robots. We worry that if a machine can make a beautiful melody, then the human element is lost. But there is a deeper, more interesting layer here. The real issue might not be the tool itself, but how we use it. If a musician uses a computer to change their voice or to find a new rhythm, they are still making choices. They are still using their taste and their history to build something. The technology is just a very powerful brush in the hand of an artist. However, there is a hidden assumption that we all carry. We assume that the value of art is tied directly to the suffering or the effort of the artist. When we hear a sad song, we want to believe the singer actually felt that sadness. We want to believe they spent years practicing their craft to earn the right to express that emotion. This is why a song made by a computer feels like a trick. It gives us the emotional result without the human journey. It feels like a shortcut that skips the most important part of being an artist. But we must also ask ourselves if the listener always cares about the process. If you hear a song on the radio that makes you dance or makes you cry, does it matter if a person wrote it or if a prompt created it? We often consume art without knowing the backstory. We enjoy the colors of a painting without knowing if the artist was happy or sad. This suggests that music might be more than just a direct line to someone else's soul. It might be an experience that belongs entirely to the listener. If the sound moves you, is that movement any less real because of how the sound was made? This is a difficult thing to wrap our heads around because it challenges our sense of what it means to be human. We can see a structural pattern here that has happened many times in history. Technology starts as a way to copy what humans already do. Then, it becomes a way to do things that humans could never do alone. Think of how a guitarist can use different pedals to make their instrument sound like a space station or an ocean wave. AI is becoming a new kind of instrument. It allows a person to sing with a voice they were not born with. It allows a composer to turn a simple violin melody into a giant movie score in an instant. This pattern shows that we are moving from a world of fixed abilities to a world of infinite possibilities. But with this power comes a great deal of confusion. Even the people who make our laws struggle to understand where the human ends and the machine begins. They might see a digital creation and think it has no right to exist, forgetting that a person was behind the curtain making the decisions. We need to find new ways to think about this that go beyond just being for or against technology. We can reframe the situation by looking at the intent behind the music. Instead of asking if a machine made it, we should ask why it was made. Is there an artistic purpose? Is the creator trying to share a new perspective or just trying to fill a website with noise to make money? When an artist uses these tools to play with our expectations, like making a country singer perform a hip-hop song, they are creating something new through contrast. They are using the technology to highlight the absurdity and the joy of creativity. This kind of work is not meant to replace traditional music. It is meant to expand the boundaries of what we think is possible. It can actually increase creativity by giving artists more ways to experiment. When we see famous musicians sharing these digital creations, it shows that even the pros see the value in this weird new frontier. They recognize that a sense of humor and a spirit of play are just as important as technical skill. Applying this to our daily lives means we have to become more mindful listeners. We have to learn how to navigate a world where things are not always what they seem. We might need to set our own rules for what we find acceptable. For example, we might value honesty above all else. We might not mind if a song is made by AI, as long as the creator is open about it. We might also look for that spark of human intent that makes a piece of work feel special. Even in a world full of digital voices, we can still find the things that feel true to us. We can appreciate the skill of a live performer while also enjoying the strange beauty of a computer-generated blues song. It is about finding a balance between the old and the new. We do not have to throw away our guitars just because we have software. Instead, we can see how they might work together to create sounds we have never heard before. The future of music will likely be a conversation between our biological hearts and our digital tools. This conversation can be messy and confusing, but it can also be incredibly beautiful if we stay curious. We are learning that the soul of music does not live in a specific instrument or a specific method. It lives in the connection we feel when a sound hits our ears and stirs something inside us. That connection is still very much a human thing, even if the bridge is built of code. As we move forward, we should try to keep our sense of wonder alive. We should not be afraid of the changes, but we should also not lose sight of why we loved music in the first place. It is a way for us to make sense of our world and to feel less alone. Whether the voice is real or simulated, the feelings it creates in you are yours to keep. If the most moving song you hear tomorrow turns out to be created by a machine, will the tears you shed be any less real to you?